What is going on, guys? It is Daniel and Kelsey right here for another episode of Paving the Way. Guys, appreciate you joining us today for another episode. Obviously, it's been a minute since I put one out myself, and it's been a couple weeks at least since Kelsey's been so kind to join me.
So kind.
One of these days, guys, I'm just going to start hitting record right when we sit down at this table here, because the conversations that take place before I hit record is probably what you guys actually want to hear.
Probably.
But nonetheless, we're going to be talking about some stuff today. If any of you guys follow me on social, you saw I was in St. Louis last week. I had to go to a kind of a construction-based event with a group called Build Wit or Dirt World kind of thing. So it was a bunch of contractors from all over the country came together, all different like infrastructure type of stuff. And it was awesome. It was held at First Form headquarters, which if you follow me, you know that is those are my people, those are my products. And so we got to be there and get to really be in their realm. In their realm, and see their standards and things like that. So kind of dive into a little bit of that today. Obviously the episode title today is She's Hot, I'm Hot, We're Hot. So
I did not know that was the title.
I got you. I got you. But all that being said, guys, let's get started. All right, guys, welcome back. As I said, I appreciate you joining in. I took about a week or so off from doing this stuff. I was actually just talking with the guys earlier about recording this today, and I was telling them, like, man, like, I feel bad when I don't put the podcast out, because I really try to stay like committed to the Wednesday, Saturday routine and stuff like that. But I feel like sometimes there's just times where it's like you just need like a week to kind of just like reset, or a few days or whatever it is, you know. And I understand there's some people that have a show that goes out every single day, or like they are like that is their life. But in case you guys didn't know, I actually do run a real company with real people, and this podcast is 100% kind of just for fun, as well as to like pass along knowledge and experiences and wisdom. So it has been a heck of a freaking year so far.
And it's only March.
Yeah, it definitely feels later than March. Not only the weather outside 70 freaking degrees on what is it, March 5th or something? Yeah, March 5th. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's just been a lot of just things under construction, building systems, processes, people, redefining systems, processes, and people and their roles, and getting clarity and things like that. You know, I say it all the time that every day we come in here is like day one, because we're literally like the business is growing at like that rapid of a pace. Not necessarily like top line revenues growing that rapid of a pace, but like the things that we're doing day in and day out. It's just like, well, okay, well, we had that built a couple months ago. Now we got to tear that apart and do something different.
Constantly under construction.
Yes, it's constant. So all that to be said, as some of you might take as one big old excuse of why I didn't do a podcast last week, but nonetheless, I had nothing to offer last week. I went to that event in St. Louis. I got to spend some time with some good friends of mine through the Top Contractor School Network. Marvin, good buddy of mine, he kind of put the group together. There was, I think, 6 of us that went. Literally from California to Carolina, and from Wisconsin, Michigan, from all the way south to, I don't know who the southernmost person was, maybe me, southeast. But we had people from all over the country, like 6 of us, like California, Colorado, Wisconsin, Michigan, Ohio, and North Carolina. So like that, like if that's not cool as shit to have like a group of people that are all over the country, different ages, you know, ranging probably from, well, the youngest is 23 who was with us, all the way up to the oldest in our group was just turned 37 last week, Cisco. So he was the oldest in the group. And
way to shout him out on there.
Yeah, well, I mean, hey, he
telling his age.
But I tell you what, he sets the bar for us guys. He's running at a pace that we need to keep up with. You know, I'm only a few years younger than him, but still, it's like he runs at a pace and he's unlocking new levels. Then literally when I got back, I was like, I need to figure out how to do this. Like, I need to figure out how to unlock the levels and maintain that like that level of running.
Yeah.
Because I think we all get in phases where you hit those spurts, and you get some kind of quick, motivation or whatever it is, but then it just dies off. Yeah, we don't have time for that anymore. So that experience last week was awesome. Honestly, just getting to go to First Form headquarters, actually getting to talk with the people who work in the company, the people who run the company, and just see like they practice what they preach, the standards, the expectations. Like I love it. Like I'm a high standards guy, probably set what some would consider unrealistic, but truthfully, like I was telling you about it, they've got over 400 people who work under that roof, and the standards are set and upheld. Doesn't mean they're perfect every day, but the people who work there, like they are held to those standards. They're not negotiable. So it was definitely inspiring and encouraging of, that we can do that too.
We can.
So what are you getting into the total boss's perspective here?
Great.
What would be your opinion on when it comes to a growing company? Obviously, like we said, everything's under construction. So the standards don't necessarily change, but maybe they do change and grow. Like they get a little tighter and a little tighter. What's your opinion on how to actually present, enforce, hold people accountable, things like that, without causing harm to the culture and morale, but yet still operating at a level that we can like stand behind?
That's the question of the year. I think I've said this a million times to you, or we've discussed it, that it all starts from the top. So if you don't hold the standard, then the next person below you, it goes 100. If you're hot, it's usually, what is it, like 20% like decrease as you go down the chain of command, or the
like you're talking about the law, the diminishing returns.
Thank you. That's what it is. Yeah. So even if you're pushing at 80%, and that's how much you're pushing, you're holding that line only 80% of the time, someone below you is only going to hold it 60% of the time, and it just keeps going down and down and down and down and down. Yeah. So it starts at the top, and if you push it at 100%, then the goal is to get JJ to do it 100%. But
yeah, and I think that being said, we're fortunate that we have a team of people who are willing and they push.
Yes, 100%.
Right, they push. And then, like you said, though, from the top of the organization, we have to keep pushing, and the whole goal of that is to keep bringing everybody up and along and things like that. And so,
I was gonna say that I think the way to do that is, when you're asking, is just to push your vision towards them.
Yeah,
and that gives them I'm just struggling with words tonight. Gosh, you get like a vision, a path to sees where you're going.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's something that I've been trying to do better about. I keep it all in here. It all makes sense. I know where we're going. I know where I want, to see things happening and whatnot, with also giving the autonomy of the leaders we have in the company, being able to build their departments. But it's like something JJ and I talked about recently. Is actually, I think the three of us are talking, like, if you give too many options, then nothing gets done, because everybody has a different way on how to do it, or what to call it, or how to describe it, or whatever it is. So it's like getting feedback from the group is a great way to get the buy-in, right? Because you actually respect and appreciate what the people have to offer. But ultimately, like, the decisions just have to come down to a decision maker, or maybe two or three makers, to make sure that we're holding each other accountable. So, but like you said, it all starts at the top. It starts with the vision, and it trickles down from there.
Yep. So you don't hold that line, then no one else is going to hold it for you.
Exactly. It
starts at the top.
Sets that standard. So, so all this being said, going into kind of more of the topic today, I was honestly going to do this podcast, this topic on my own. And then we had a conversation, I think it was like last week, where we were talking about what it's like to be married to somebody who runs hot.
Yes, we did have that conversation.
Yeah. Now, for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, Andy, the owner of First Form, is his podcast. He did a show with Ed Milet a couple weeks back, and in that show there was a part of it that he was talking about being wired hot. And I've listened to this episode, I think 2 or 3 times now, but after coming back from first form and listening to it again and actually getting the opportunity to interact with him a couple times and just have some brief conversations, that part of it really resonated in a different way. And in the show he was talking with that he did with Ed, he talked about, that, look, I'm just wired different. He's like, I'm wired hot. And Ed asked me, like, well, what do you mean by that? He's like, I'm the type that it's either 100 miles an hour, balls to the wall, whatever it is, or nothing. Like nothing is typically if I'm sleeping, or the rare occasion that I'm actually relaxing, like out of town on vacation or something like that. But it's typically from the time you wake up, it's 100 miles an hour. And Andy was talking about, he said, when you're running hot, it's hard to have friends. It's hard, like your family doesn't understand it. Mm-hmm. Perhaps your employees don't understand it. Your peers don't understand it, whatever it may be. So when you're running hot and you're just running red line all the time, just pushing, I'm not sitting here saying it's healthy or whatever it is, but like, if you think about like the greats in the world, whether it's the Michael Jordan, the Kobe Bryant, Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, those guys, and I mean, I'm sure, for all the ladies out there, there's women who run hot too. But those are the ones that come to mind for me, of just like the, Tiger Woods, like just these legends of their craft. Mm-hmm. Those people, like, they didn't have a ton of like friends. They had fans because they spent so many years running hot to become the great, right? But the conversation that we had, bringing this all back to Sorrel, because I could go down a whole rabbit hole with it, because it is hard. Like, it is genuinely hard being a person who, like, that's just how I think. It's what I do. It's how I act. And it is genuinely hard. Like, having friends is very tough, because how many times have you heard, man, can't Daniel just like relax a little bit? Like, can't he just like not take things so seriously? Like, from friends and family, like, do you not hear that?
Not really from friends, but I think as we've gotten older, your friend group develops into more the group that you need. They understand more of where you're at.
Yeah.
So I don't hear that much from both, not really anymore.
Anymore.
Family, yes. A lot when we first got married, or we would go see our family members during that time period. But friends, I mean, not really. I really don't. Shockingly, or not shockingly, but greatly.
Part of that may be because our friend group's pretty small.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. As we gotten older, honestly, we just don't have friends.
Yeah, if you guys want to be our friends, drop a comment. We're accepting applications for friends, but you got to accept people who run hot.
Yeah, I was about to add that little disclaimer.
Yeah, we run hot.
We run hot. You got to understand.
Yeah, and it's yeah, I mean, like you said, you used to hear from people who didn't really know me, whether it was your family when we first got married or whatever it was. But I mean, if you were to describe it, because I'm sure that there are people who listen to this or watching it right now who either is the spouse that runs hot, and then maybe their spouse doesn't always, right? Because when you're in the zone, like you as my spouse, like when you're in the zone, you're in the zone. You are dedicated to it. You're driven. You're task mission oriented. Like, you are locked in. Mm-hmm. But generally speaking, like, our mentalities are not the same. Like, ever since you start, I completely agree.
That's a good thing.
No, the world would not handle two of us married to each other.
No.
And so like I kind of say a lot, like, ever since you've been working at the company now and in it, like, you bring the fun to the office. You bring the fun side out of me, even. Like, I probably laugh and smile more now. Sometimes I'm laughing at you,
okay.
But sometimes I laugh and smile more now than I ever did. And it's not because I'm not happy. It's just because I get locked in, and you pull me out of that locked in mode. And it's like, Daniel, it's okay to like laugh and smile. But there are times where I'm like, Kelsey, no, like, this is like, I'm dialed in right now. So you as a spouse who maybe isn't the necessarily one who's wired hot like I am, how do you deal with that? Because other people hear me talk to you sometimes or say things, they're like, dang, like, what's wrong with him? Like, how do you handle it?
I mean, I guess it's just I have an understanding. I know where your brain's at, or I don't take things personally because I know where your brain's at. You're in the zone, you're going at it, and you're not... Sounds horrible. It sounds like you're just being so mean to me when you're talking to me. It's not that. It's just you're very like curt, abrupt, like, this is what I need to do right now. Like, we're working. Sorry about your feelings. Like, just get over it. You need to do that. I'm like, okay. Like, literally, I'll be like, okay. And I'll just walk away. And other people might look like, oh, he's being an asshole to him or her right now. Like,
Yeah.
what the heck? That's how they are in their marriage. Like, no, that's not. But I don't know. I just know how you are and what you need. Or, I mean, we've been together for, I don't know, how long have we been together? We've been married 9 years. Going on 9 years. Caught that one. He's usually better with this. But you can tell who's the woman in the relationship.
Yeah.
Sorry, honey. I don't remember dates, seen those, all that stuff. But I don't know. I know how you're feeling at times. I just understand it. So I adapt to how you are in the office.
Well, I think you're not wrong about that. I mean, you offer a lot of grace and, understanding, like you said, like you kind of like, you can pick up on the vibe of like, okay, like he's dialed in, like, maybe I shouldn't take this personal right now. Now there's times that you come to me later and you're like, hey, I didn't like it.
Yeah.
How you responded, regardless of what the situation is. It's like, it's one of those things where it's a time and a place thing. It's something that I have to be more aware of. Some I was warned of, by my grandparents when we started working together is, basically just, be careful how you talk to your wife. Don't talk just because she works at the company doesn't mean, like, husbands and wives talk one way, employers and employees, or employers and partners, or whatever it may be, like they talk a different way.
Yeah. And
it was told that, like, Daniel, like, you are going to inherently be nicer to your staff than you are your wife.
Yes.
And it's not that you're mean to your wife. It's just that because, like, that's just like we talk to family different than we talk to peers.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think, like, I guess my advice for people who run hot, because I know that there's guys in my group. I mean, the guys I was at First Form with, a lot of those guys probably run hot. Maybe not necessarily always as hot as I do, because they're the ones who tell me to, like, hey, dude, like, chill out, like, enjoy your dinner, and, like, just enjoy your time. Like, we don't have to talk about all the serious stuff all the time. But nonetheless, they say, I would say if you're somebody who runs hot and you're around people that you love and care about, just be aware of it. Worst case scenario, sometimes it is easier to ask for forgiveness than permission, sort of thing. If you're in the zone and you're running, at least be willing to, like, own up to the fact that, hey, I'm sorry for what I said earlier. Like, it's no excuse for it. I was just in the zone. Don't take it personal. I love you, appreciate you, whatever it may be, to whoever you're talking to, right?
Yeah.
Whether it is a peer, a staff member, your wife, brother, sister, mom, dad, whoever you're working with. I think we can all kind of get in that hot zone sometimes, whether it's out of emotion, whether it's out of necessity, circumstances, environment, I don't know. But it's definitely something that the older I'm getting, the more I'm comfortable with it. That I don't feel like I have to impress anybody, or, like, when people tell me you just need to relax a little bit more.
Or constantly apologize for your behaviors. Like, there's a point where you do, but also it's like, read the room. If you're coming in here and ask me to do something like that, and you see me in the zone doing stuff, I mean, I might not say the nicest things to you. So read the room. So,
well, yeah, and you're not wrong, because, I mean, yeah, you got to know who you're hanging out with.
Yeah.
And honestly, like, that's one of the nice things about, like, this podcast and doing this, because as a growing company, there's going to be people who come to work here, and they, like,
I hope so.
they're going to come work here. Well, what better way to get to know people than, like, listening to conversations about this, and actually knowing the people who are running the organization. And that's why, like, on our social media, like, I love to highlight, our team too, because those are the people that new ones would come in and work with. You want to show them, what are you getting into? So I think the whole point of what I'm wanting to talk about is that running hot, I think, is actually very common in a lot of high achievers, people who desire to be successful, business owners, whatever it might be. And I think that it just has to be something that other people around them just know. But I think as you get older and as you start to accept and know how you run, you learn how to channel it, right? Like, I think it was, it might have even been today that I was coming into the office. I'm like, man, like, I feel like I have so much shit to do that I got to get in there. I got to get to work. And I did. I mean, I came in, pretty much shut the door and got to work.
Yep.
But if you look at today, like, I was still laughing and having fun, making jokes, whatever it is. But then when it was work time, it was you dial in and you're just running hot. And that's what I'm really trying to learn.
Well, it's also about planning your day too. And I think
what's that?
It's trying to plan your day. You're like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
But you're trying to get better with that of planning your day. But I think a lot of today, how you're saying it went well with you being like lighthearted and having fun, but also getting your shit done, was you came in yesterday and told everyone, hey, tomorrow's my day to get a lot of shit done. I got a lot on my list.
Mm-hmm.
So people already had that expectation of what you were going to do. And I think since it was in your brain that you had all this on your list and you already had a plan going out, and if you got some stuff done, you were able to let loose a little bit.
Yeah, you're not wrong. I mean, at the end of the day, I didn't get as much done as I wanted to. You know, there's always more to get done, but there has to be that balance. You know, there definitely has to be that balance. And that's something I'm trying to learn.
You use the word balance.
Well, it's,
yeah. He hates the word balance.
I do hate the word balance.
You need balance.
I think it's circumstantial, right? Like the balance I'm talking about is I can run hot.
Yeah.
And I can be getting shit done, but I don't have to be that way to every person all the time.
No. If you're to me, I understand. So
yeah.
I'm okay with it.
Well, but like you said too, you got to read the room. If somebody comes into my room where I'm dialed in and I'm getting stuff done and I give you a direct to the point response and you don't like it, well, you should have probably read the room when you walked in. Like, I was busy and I was trying to be respectful and say either yes, like I got time to talk, or no, but make it quick. You know, it is what it is. But also I have the responsibility as the person who's running hot to read the room. If I leave my office and I go out into the rest of the office and people are kind of joking and having fun, I can't come bring my running hot attitude into that.
No.
That's a good way to just like, yeah, you just bring the whole vibe down, you know, the whole culture, the morale, everything. So that's something I'm learning and in talking, or if you're watching this, Mr. Finn is here, you know, hanging out with us, telling us it's time to go home. So, oh my gosh. Get out of here.
Oh, he's just wanting to go.
If you're not following Finn on his Finstagram, you're going to have to do that. So,
oh, Munchie.
He loves his life at the office.
Loves his mama.
Yeah. But no, it's, I guess the whole point of what I'm getting at is I wanted to put this message out there because I heard the message about running hot. I related to it. You and I had a conversation last week about being married to somebody who runs hot and is just like always running 100 miles an hour and how that works. And I can't imagine it's easy. So I guess for that, like, I thank you for like the grace that you give. But to those of you who are out there, whether you're the husband, the wife, the owner, the employee, whatever role you play, like the people around you, if they're still around and you're running hot like that, like they obviously have come to understand you.
Yeah.
So my recommendation is appreciate them, just let them know every now and then, hey, I know I'm a lot. I know I can be a lot to take, a lot to handle. I'm not sorry for it. Like I'm unapologetically me because I have big freaking goals to accomplish that isn't going to take a mediocre, work ethic.
And the right people around you will realize that though.
Correct. And that's where, we're just trying to keep stacking the team, and keep teaching the team that we have, because some people, they may be all in, bought in, whatever it may be, but like, they're like, oh, I don't really think like that. And truthfully, if you did, you should probably be out running a business too.
Yeah.
Like you're a caged animal if that's how you think, but you at least need to understand why the running hot is so important. So that's just, I don't know. That's just where I'm at with it. And it's, and like I said, I feel like I probably ended up talking the majority of this. And you kind of sat here and listened to me have a little monologue.
Sometimes that happens. It's all right.
But it's fun. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of stress. I mean, I'm sure you can probably hear it in my voice right now. Like
this time of year right now, it's just that time of year.
Well, that's honestly what, when I was leaving the house this morning, I was getting in the car and I was like, man, like there are 15 other humans that depend on me to like keep this thing running and keep it going. And I mean, we have people who work here who are driven to help keep it going too. Like it's not like everybody just sits here and waits to be told what to do, but like nonetheless, like I'm in the eagle's nest looking out for where we're going, what's coming, what we need to do, where we need to turn, things like that. And with the help of the team, with the help of the people that we have, there's still a lot of weight that comes. And then I sat there and thought, I'm like, man, First Form's got 400 people in one building, and then I met with, or I went to the sales class the other night, and the guy who taught it was one of the founders of Avid Exchange, and they've got 1,800 employees.
It's nuts.
I mean, that's not only just 1,800 people who work there, but their families that you're providing for. Like, it's a lot of pressure to get it right. So like I said earlier, if you're not running hot, I think the maturity part comes with learning how to channel the running hot. Like what I talked about, like you have to kind of be able to turn it off to go interact with people who are on your team that don't need a freaking pep talk every time a word comes out of your mouth. But also you need to keep that momentum going. And I think, like you said today, with the right mentality, it was able to be done. You can run hot, get a lot of shit done, get the point across when it needs to get made, but also still be able to interact with other humans around you.
Yeah. I think, because I don't think I gave much advice on the spousal thing of running hot between me and you. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. What I would say is, I think honestly, everything just comes down to communication. And I think me and you communicate or are trying to communicate very well. It's still always work in progress. But it's me holding you accountable when I feel like you're running too hot, when it's not in the right situation to do that. Or we're going out to dinner and you're just like, bam, 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 like that kind of thing. And we're like, all right, let's just have a drink, have some food. Yep. It's okay. Just holding you accountable of that, or being able to respectfully in the conversation, so you're not constantly like that.
Yep.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it does. And you do good at that with me. I mean, because you've learned.
Yeah.
You've learned, okay, this is how Daniel is. Or especially now that you're in the business, you understand a lot more of it too. Because there's probably times I would come home from work and you'd be like, yeah, I understand you're stressed, but like, what's the big deal, kind of sort of thing. Now where you're like, sometimes you're the ones coming home from work and you're like, da, 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 you're running hot. And I'm like, I am drained right now.
Well, we're both in the same shoe. We're both in the same box, in the same cup. We're in it together.
Yeah.
So we're both under the same understanding of what's going on. Before, it's me in my nursing field, you over here, you come home and you can't relate. You're not in that shoe. I'm going to say shoe because it's just fun. I'm just thinking of mice in a shoe. I don't know why.
Two mice in a wool sock.
What happens with two mice in a wool sock?
Let your imagination wander.
Oh, great. All right. Well, we're both in the same shoe together.
Yeah.
Stinky, smelly shoe. We're in it together.
Yep.
So we have the same understanding of that. So we can communicate more at home. We understand each other more. If you're in it together, you are.
Yep. Yep. And that's where we're at with it. So it's we bounce off each other and typically bounce off of each other and end up at the same place every night, back home to reset and do it all again the next day. But no, I mean, honestly, Kelsey, like there's not anybody I'd rather do it with than you. High five.
High five.
There you go. But no, it's fun. I'm fortunate we have a team that they're obviously still learning and growing to understand us, understand you, me, where we're going, because the vision is out there, but like the path to get there constantly changes. Like the scenery changes. We were having that conversation, with Amanda last week about when it was a couple of years ago. It was me and her, her in the office, me kind of in and out of the office doing sales. We had 3 guys in operations. Yeah. And now, like I just said, there's 16 of us on the team now.
It's crazy.
Yeah. So there's a lot more going on, a lot more to come, a lot of things coming down the road, down the pipe. But it's a journey. It's a challenge. Yeah, apparently it's boring because you're yawning.
No, you
so
took away my caffeine this week.
Oh, yeah. Thanks a
Thanks,
lot, Marvin.
Marvin.
Yeah, thanks a lot. We're
I'm
trying
really struggling here.
trying to reset this caffeine intake or something. I don't know. He says less caffeine gives more energy. Something stupid. I don't know. But no, that's where we're at with it. So like I said, if you run hot, if you're somebody who's running hot, be aware of your surroundings. You know, if you're in one of those modes where you're running hot and you don't know how to, turn it off, turn it on for the right people around you. Not to say that you have to be apologetic about it, but if you don't know how to control it and channel it and you're running hot, I recommend that you probably work by yourself for a little while. Because there's times where you can be way more catastrophic and you can cause more damage by running hot in the wrong situation than good. And I've been one to do that. I've had to go back and apologize later to people because I come into an office and I'm like, hey, da 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 da, and then next thing I know, I'm like, oh shit,
But as a spouse, being able to tell you, hey, I think you need to go back and apologize to those people because you were a little much.
Well, yeah, and that's part of it. It's just that communication. Like
that's what I'm saying. That's what I get to do for you.
And I'm the type, guys, I'm the type that I will. Kelsey doesn't always like it, but it's kind of one of those things like, hey, I apologize for what I said made you feel. It's, maybe I apologize for the way I said something, whatever it may be. But if what I said was fact, if I said, hey, I need to get XYZ done and I need you to help me with blah, 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 like, I don't apologize for that. Yeah. Now, maybe I should have said it in a nicer tone or, whatever it may be. So that side of it. So it's not saying that you need to be apologetic about running hot. You just have to really look at how you're talking to people. Is what I've learned. So you can run hot, you can be direct, you can be clear with things, and that's what most people want is you should be direct and clear with them. Mm-hmm. That's another thing I've really been trying to learn and get better at, dialing that in.
Yeah. What's my phrase to you always?
Don't go around the rainbow to get the pot of gold. So just get straight to the point.
Get to the point.
Yeah. But a lot of learning happening right now. I just want to kind of share that with you guys. Get her take on some of this stuff. But like I said, she's hot, I'm hot, we're hot.